I just rambled for like 5 minutes trying to do this video. And I had to go like check something, so then I just ended up having to scrap it. I'm gonna try to do this without crying, but as you can tell, like I've already been crying this entire morning. I'm a very nostalgic person, and this entire morning I've been very, very nostalgic. And the one thing that's kind of been playing in my head is that one Republic song that's like, I did it all, and then it says a bunch of stuff, and it's like, with every broken something, I swear I lived. I'll put the actual song on the screen, and I'm sure most people have heard it. It's a very popular song, but if you watch my content, you know that I get very emotional about the concept of living, of experiencing things, good or bad, right? Just how beautiful it is that we get to experience these things. And part of why it makes me so emotional is because for the longest time, I feared how like deep I fear things, like feel things, how deeply like I feel things, and just experience things and take things in it, and how much I hold on to like memories and just different versions of myself, and not on like a cling to myself in a way, and kind of like refuse to change or anything like that. Actually, especially over the last few years, like I've rapidly like shifted and like transformed and had to just like shed over and over and over again, to the point where like, and I've said this before in previous videos, like I couldn't recognize who I was at the beginning of last year. I couldn't recognize who I was 6 months ago, and I damn sure couldn't recognize who I was 3 years ago and beyond. You know what I mean? My point though is what even spurred all of this on, again, the whole like I swear I lived, but a specific line in a Dermot Kennedy song. It's actually like his latest single, Let Me In. Hold on. I had to pause because as I thought of the lyric, I was about to say it, like I started crying. And I think I'm just gonna probably have to accept that to even get this out. Like I probably will cry. But um the line in the song is well, lines really. I can't remember if it's seem or sing, so whatever, but it's something like to the effect of, oh, the world doesn't, I think it's sing for me. The world doesn't seem to me quite how it used to seem. This life is a touch too damn much for me. Maybe that's meant for me. Okay, hold on. Because that's the line. This life is a touch too damn much for me. Because I've always felt like life was too much. I've always been overwhelmed by the concept of living, by like the prospect of having to carry on a life, of having to be a person, and candidly about not being able to, you know, self delete. um, I've been very honest that that is something that I have struggled with. And I think kind of like what's washing over me right now is in the last few months I've been sort of realizing, or really kind of feeling, processing how much I didn't want to like live, just how much I didn't want to be alive. And it's like I kind of always knew that, and I struggled with that, but I don't think I ever actually processed it, right? And so I kind of feel like right now is a shedding of that, because I'm no longer in that place. And that is very novel to me. I just turned 29, maybe like not even 2 months ago, not even a full 2 months ago. And for the first like 28 years of my life, it was pretty touch. It was pretty touch and go. My point in all of that is, one, I've always felt like life was too much, but I always felt like I was too much. Just for the world, for life, like, just too much to others and all of that, and just that I didn't fit, and that I didn't get life. And I was never like actively, like never fully like actively like trying to like, you know, self, you know, exit. But I did sort of, I wouldn't even say I toed the line. Like I very much, it's like if you drew a line between life and death, I stood on the line. Like for I would say probably for the first like 27 years of my life. Not even kidding. I just like stood on the line and I let the wind sway me whichever which way. And that's kind of how my life was gonna end up, right? Like it was whichever way the wind blew, and I was not going to stop it, right? So like if it tipped over, I wouldn't have fought, I wouldn't have stopped it. And coming to terms with that was its own thing, and kind of having to sit with that and deal with that. But what helped, and I guess my kind of point in all of this, is that at no point, like deep, deep, deep down, and it was really hard for me to even find that place and sort of anchor into it. I'm sorry, hold on. Wait, pause. TMI, I guess, maybe. Does anyone maybe have to burp after they cry a lot? Does crying make you burp? Because it can make me burp just randomly. My point though is like deep down in the like deepest parts of me, I wanted to live. I just didn't know how, because I didn't feel like uh I deserved to, and then I didn't know how to exist and show up, and I didn't know how to like handle things, and I didn't feel like I would be received well and all of that. But some part of me wanted to, and really that's even why I started therapy 3 years ago at this point, because I knew that I was on like a very like I was walking a very just like precarious path, and I needed to do something about it. And I wanted to do something about it, right? Wanted help, didn't know how to get myself help, didn't, whatever. As I was saying, my point with this is though, I'm not gonna tell you that like living is worth it, even though I feel like it is. I'm not gonna like, I guess that's kind of me telling you that, but the point is not whether or not living is worth it. The point is whether you like even want to find out. And it doesn't have to be that your want to find out is greater than your diswant, is not a word, but your like, what's the word, the opposite of that, whatever the opposite of that is, right? Your desire to not want to live. One doesn't have to be greater than the other, as in your will to live does not have to be greater than your desire, compulsion to not want to live. You just have to like have it and hold on to it and fight for it, right? If you know that there's even just like a minuscule like chance that you want to live, then you fight for it. And I'm not saying it's not hard, and I'm not saying it's not daunting, and I'm not saying that sometimes you won't go, is this actually really worth it? And you won't like relapse and get back into dark places. And I'm not even saying on the other side of it you don't still feel that way occasionally. It's just that it gets easier in a way once you're on the other side of it. This is not coming out eloquently at all. which I guess is fine because it's just not the headspace that I'm in. But the other Dermot Kennedy song, I listened to one. Dermot Kennedy literally saved my life. Like, his music literally saved my life. I've said this multiple times. I don't even, if I could just like tattoo someone's like discography like onto my soul, I would do that with his one of his newest. I just said one of his newest songs, "Let Me In." This is a new song, but it's unreleased. But you can still find it on YouTube if you feel so inclined to go listen to it. But it's endless. And I think the chorus is like, "I still remember when you said the night feels endless." And it's just like, I couldn't fix it for you. I couldn't take the pain away from this house. Until the morning, will you lay with me? Pretend the hurt is gone for now. The rest of that isn't the point, but I felt compelled to like finish it. The point though is remembering like how daunting and how scary existing can feel, and how it's like, and how trying to face, because here's the other thing, like I'm saying all this stuff, right? And genuinely I am on the other side of it. And so there is kind of like a loss of perspective, but also not. But I'm saying this because I know just how expansive that void is. Like, I know how hard it is. This makes me so incredibly emotional because one, growing up feeling this, I didn't have the verbiage for it. I didn't know that this is what I was feeling. And by the time I actually knew, I still didn't really have anyone around me equipped to have those sorts of conversations with me, or anyone who experienced it. And that's not to say like I whatever. Well, one person, but we're no longer friends, for reasons not related to this. I'm trying to I'm trying to bring it together because, again, this makes me incredibly emotional because I can't tell you that it'll get better. I can't tell you that you won't always like feel this way, or that it'll go away completely forever. Maybe for some people it does, but maybe for some people it doesn't. One thing though is I do want to normalize the feeling of not wanting to be here, because, and I've talked about this before, I feel like if we had more intentional conversations regarding this, I think less people would struggle as much, and it not like it, I just even a little bit, like struggle just a little less, and not even like to know that they're not alone. Maybe for some people that would help. I know for me, that didn't help. I'm not stupid. I'm not self-absorbed. I don't think that I'm the only person to ever have walked this earth who didn't feel like they belonged, and who didn't feel like they didn't deserve to live. So knowing that other people also felt that way, like that camaraderie, it didn't do anything for me because it didn't diminish how I felt. But the thing of like of feeling like an outcast, and like wanting to not be here, is such an ugly feeling. Not as in like you yourself and the feelings that you're having are ugly. It's that is such a weight on your soul. Like it's really hard to carry. It's really, really hard to carry. And part of that I think is because we, just like overall as a society, as people, do not honor life the way that we should, in that life in and of itself is very, very beautiful. And I don't say that again, like, I don't say that to tell you to like live, right? Like, obviously, I want you to, very much, I do. Um, but I don't say that to like get you to live or like guilt you or like, live for this or live for that. I don't know, live for the chance that like maybe it won't hurt as much. I don't know. I don't know. I get, because to be honest, I don't. And this is what I mean by the level of removal. I know exactly how it is to like feel that, that sort of endless void, and how daunting it is to face it, and how you're already like literally like drained and you feel like you have nothing left in you. But like then you have to like muster up the courage to like face it, right? You have to muster up the cares. You literally have to pull cares out of your ass, like, because it's like clearly it's not there, right? You have to manufacture it. And so I don't like I and I think that's part of like why I'm so emotional right now, because I know exactly what I did, right? Like, again, I've been in trauma therapy for 3 years, and not because I didn't want to be here. It was because of everything that culminated into me not wanting to be here. Really like facing that, and taking back control of my life. It helped. I Part of this is just me just like speaking on my own experience, but like I really do hope this helps someone. But when it comes to this one, I try to censor myself, because I can be because one, I don't want to trigger anyone, but also I mean, it's a public platform, so like, it could get flagged. um but also because it like, I don't want to trigger someone and like and push them, like, but I also don't want to discount how big of a struggle that it genuinely is. And I don't think I'm relaying that part correctly. And probably because like that's not the like how, that's not really the focus of this. The focus is, I know that it's heavy, and that I'm saying specifically, like, just me, I feel like I'm now on the other side of it. And again, that's not to say that that stuff doesn't come up for me, especially when, I am triggered with like a core wound, but I can handle it. And I guess that's my other point, is the void won't always seem so vast. It won't always seem so daunting. Sometimes like you get to a point where you can sit with it, right? You can sit with your demons and your darkness, and you can make friends with it, and it can exist. As much as I am a bright and bubbly person and appreciate all aspects of life, there's still that part of me, like, that didn't go away. There's still that part of me that is not all too keen on this whole life thing. You know what I mean? And instead of trying to fix that part of me, and I actually delivered a message about this yesterday, instead of trying to fix that part of me, I now just allow it to just exist. And just allowing it to exist, allowing it to have that space, is the thing that has started to heal me. I'm not saying that that is what will heal you, but I don't know, maybe. Because I do remember that the last time that I was truly, and I've talked about this recently actually, but in case you missed it, the last time that I was like truly in that very, very dark space, it was actually at the start of me starting trauma therapy. And I'd been in therapy before, but trauma therapy is vastly different from just like regular therapy. And it really, 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 really helped, especially as someone who dealt with functional freeze. around that time, someone close to me found out and had to take precautions, and I felt like this deep sense of betrayal, because it was this thing of, well, why would you want to do that? And it was a very, and they didn't intend it to be this way, but it was a very judgmental way of coming at it when I was already in a very, very fragile place. Instead of just, and the constant worrying as if I was going to do it, as if I didn't get myself the help, because it wasn't noticeable to anyone around me that that's what I was feeling and that's what I was dealing with. And that I had been dealing with that for, you know what I mean, years, or like, right? So I was kind of pissed, because I'm like, dude, I'm getting myself the help, right? Like, and I just needed it to be okay that I did that. I just didn't want to be here. That I was like, that I was just in that dark of a place, and I needed to be trusted that I could get myself out of it, and I wasn't. And I said this before when I mentioned this, like I resent the hell out of it. Even today, I'm still trying to make peace with that specifically. And actually, we're around the time of the year that this happened, so it makes sense that this is coming up. I actually think I told this story like last month, to be honest, or like around my birthday. I can't remember. Sorry. I'm not gonna say that there's a point to any of this. I'm really just kind of talking. I think I'll only post this on my YouTube because I'm really just kind of talking. I just saw 222. If anyone needed that little, you know, but I don't feel that way anymore. And that's kind of what triggered all of this, right? Noah Khan's song, "The View Between Villages." No, I'm not. For the rush of my blood, I'm 17 again. No, I'm not scared of death. I have dreams again. That line blows me away every single time. Every single time, it makes me incredibly emotional. Um, and also because it was, like the things that I lost here, the people that I knew, and I no longer feel all of that anger. I just feel peace. I just feel peace. And I hope that okay, hold on, because I just don't want to cry anymore, like, overall. I hope that you can get to a place where you too feel peace, where you've made peace with life, and not from a it is what it is sort of standpoint, but from just truly a place of acceptance and a place of gratitude. And I know that that sounds kind of crazy, right? Would I want to revisit those dark, like my darkest moments? Absolutely not. Am I in some way grateful that I experienced them? Yeah, from the perspective of, understanding that, like, hey, I made it through that. Like truly, I have dreams again. Like, and it just, and it's also for like the little girl who felt that way, right? Like, who had no idea how to make it through, who had no idea how to survive and how to push through, but did it anyway. And you can resent surviving. I did for a while, right? You can resent having to push through, whether for one reason or another, right? But you did it. And that's just, I don't that's just an incredible strength. Like, you should be in awe of that. Like, you should be so proud. You should be so proud. And I mentioned this, I think, in that same video. of, you see people, especially on TikTok, talking about like their darkest moments and how people are like, congratulations to you for like for making it through it or whatever, and they're like, what choice did I have? Truly, you have a choice. You have a choice. You do. You don't feel like there's a choice, but like that in and of itself is feeling like there isn't a choice for you in and of itself is you making the choice, because that is you, even if it feels completely like outside of you and foreign to you. Deep down, deep down in you, you don't want to do it. You just need help, right? Whatever that looks like for you. And so, I don't know, hold on to that. If it's anger that you have to hold on to that. Eventually, I hope that, we're able to alchemize that and rise above that anger, right? Like feel deeper into it and then rise above it, right? Bring some divinity and love into that anger, right? Because I do think that divine rage is a thing, and I respect it. It's necessary. I'm just not in that place in my life anymore. I just not even in like a holier than thou sort of way. I the place that I'm at right now and what I feel that I'm ascending to, genuinely never in a million years, never in a million lifetimes did I ever think that I could make it to this place. I'm not all whole and healed, but I don't know. There's this stillness, there's this peace. And it's not me being frozen. It's not me paralyzed and scared one way or another and just letting the wind decide my fate. I'm an active participant in my life. Like I am my own authority, and that was something that was completely like foreign to me. And by active participant, I just mean between me and spirit. I do not mean between me and any other individual. And that was a thing that I had to work for as well. And also as someone who just like genuinely never thought that I was like very, very codependent, very like hyper independent, but also codependent. And I never really thought that I could just be happy like on my own, that I could, be fulfilled on my own. And I truly think that like true happiness, because happiness is a feeling, so it's fleeting. It comes and goes. I think that like the true actual happiness is peace. It's I don't know, it's acceptance, and it's not acceptance from a standpoint of whatever happens. It's just like I know that whatever happens, regardless of if I ever figure out the reason why, it is for a divine reason, it's for a divine purpose, and I'm okay with that. I think everything that I've been through for one reason or another was for a purpose. It's not justifiable, but it's for a purpose. Do I know that purpose? No, not for every single thing. It doesn't make me a bad person. It doesn't make other people bad people. It's just the roles that we play here and how things sort of pan out based off decisions that we make. And you just have to accept that. Like someone made a decision and it ended up indirectly or directly ruining your life. And yes, you get to feel whatever it is that you get to feel about that, but like don't hate the world because of it. I mean, briefly, do so, please. Again, rage, experience it. But like let's come out of it. Eventually, when you're in a space to, let's come out of it, because you deserve to come out of it. And I think that's my bigger thing, right? And all of this, one, I really hope that I handled this with care, because truly this is something that I'm deeply passionate about, that is very close to home for me. Clearly I have snot coming out of my nose, sorry. But also the place that I'm at in life I want to feel it and I want to move on from it, not bypass it, not rush through it. Trust me, I take as long as I need to take to feel something. But then I'm like, okay, how can I bring love into this? How can I move this from, like kind of distorted energy to divine energy? And how can I bring acceptance to this, surrender to this? And it helps. It helps. I don't know. I guess that's what I'm trying to help you do as well. It doesn't mean you have to get there tomorrow, but it's just maybe knowing that it's a possibility, knowing that it is exactly as hard as you think it is, and also not as hard as you think that it is. And you just take that however it resonates with you. But anyway, as always, let me know if this resonates with you or not. And as always, anytime I have these sorts of messages, please, if you find this triggering, even if one single person finds this triggering, please let me know and I will take this down, because that's not something that I want to do in the slightest. But I hope this helps you in one way or another. Love you so much. Have a wonderful day.